So about a year ago, I put a lift kit on this. It was a Zone off-road. It was either a 4 or 4.5 inch lift. I don't remember which. And it came with new springs, shocks, control arms. I think just the lower control arms. And some stuff to make your sway bar be able to be hooked up again. Now the front axle is fine. It's pretty much centered in the wheel well. The back one, not so much. If you can stand, we can stand back and look, and it shifted really far forward towards the front of the Jeep. So if you look in here, you know, there's basically no clearance, maybe a 1/4 inch. And then back here, you know, you got a whole bunch of clearance. And I think the reason, because I looked at pictures online of Jeeps with this lift kit on, and they're all like this, but most of them only have 31 inch tires, and these are 33s, so it's a little less noticeable with the 31s. But I think the reason it shifted forward is because they didn't want to pull the drive shaft out of the transfer case too much. They probably, I'm guessing, we're trying to keep the drive shaft happy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over here and look at these new control arms I got. These are adjustable, and we're going to add about 1.5 inch length to push that axle back 1.5 inches, which will get it, you know, reasonably a lot better than this. So here's a view of the drive shaft slip yoke and what we're worried about. We don't want this to get pulled out too far and not have enough engagement in the transfer case. For right now, we've taken off this control arm, which is one of the ones that the kit came with, and we're going to go ahead and take that up to the bench and measure it and everything. So let me get this zipped off real quick. So there we are. I got my new control arm adjusted to be about 1.5 inches longer, using these using the bolts to hold everything together. So now what I'm going to do is get the other side set up so these, my two new ones, are, you know, exactly the same length, because if not, you're going to end up shifting your rear drive shaft, and, you know, it's going to go down the road like this. Nobody likes that. So alright, I got these both adjusted even. So now mine have these little grease fittings, holes right here. You can see the hole right there. So I'm going to try to point those down so you can actually grease them. And when you're twisting this, I was trying to keep both the grease fitting ports on the same side. Alright, so now I'm going to try to pop this one back in if I can, and then take the other side out and do the same, and then we'll move on to the upper arms. So I put in my 1.5 inch longer lower control arm, and I use this ratchet strap to kind of pull the axle back, and it almost made the opposite problem. Just 1.5 inches somehow shift this axle to is almost touching that. So I took the ratchet strap off and just let everything settle, and it settled right in the center here. So this is where the spring and everything wants to naturally be. And then I just adjusted that control arm to fit. So I obviously I had to take it out to make sure I get the other side's control arm the same length. So now I'm going to pop this in. We'll get that upper one out and bring it over. So I don't know what happened, but for whatever reason I didn't film anything about the upper control arms. But, you know, it's just like the lower ones. They go in about the same, but just, you know, on the top side of it. But anyway, it's been a few days because, you know, originally I was thinking, it's alright, I'll just if that drive shaft's too short, which it is, I'll just go out and get a longer one, because the V8 Jeeps had longer ones. But things got more complicated and confusing. And so let's go underneath this Jeep here and take a look, so you can see what I'm going on about. So you can take a peek at the arms I got set up, which I think I need to adjust the upper one still a little bit, because if I just look at that drive shaft, or not drive shaft, but the rear differential, it looks like it's, you know, pointing downhill a little bit. Basically what we need to do is make sure the angle of this U-joint here and that one up there is about the same, otherwise we'll get some vibrations, which would be not what you want. And so there's the arms. This light so you can see both. Pretty straightforward, you know. So all you got to do to readjust them is undo one side and then just turn the thing, and then you can lock the big locking nut to, you know, get the slack out of the threads. I pointed all the grease fittings down, so you know, when I screw the grease fittings in, you can actually grease them when you're servicing the vehicle, and or you can also probably knock the grease fitting out, slide them against a rock, and then not have to worry about greasing them anymore. So let's look over here at the drive shaft. So that's out way too far. Did a little research online, and basically what you want is you want that drive shaft, when you're setting up a drive shaft, you want to push it in all the way till it bottoms out, and then you want to mark that and then slide it, and then when you put it into bolt it into the differential back here, you want it to slide back out about an inch. So you know, that should only be, if it were ideal, right where you see it, you know, the shiny part versus the dirty part, that's about an inch, and that's where you want it. So that's not enough engagement. That by itself could cause me some vibration issues, and I'm planning on taking this thing up north to remote areas, so I would like it to be, you know, everything set up so where I don't have to worry about breaking down out in the middle of literally nowhere, because that's always my thing that I'm afraid of. So this is where things start to get complicated. So I got this 249 transfer case in here, and that is the Quadratec all-wheel drive option. Most of the straight six got the 231s, but this one unfortunately was optioned out with the high dollar 249, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with the 249. It's just problem with the old one like that is it never actually locks into it doesn't lock itself into four-wheel drive when you put it in low range like the newer version of that transfer case does. So it's always going to send its power through that clutch inside, which, if you got big tires and everything, apparently can wear it out and break it. So I always planned on switching it back to the 231, and my buddy has a 231 out of a TJ. So then, you know, the complication grows, and, you know, I gotta take it apart and put the input shaft from this one into that one. This Jeep's a 95, so it could have the older style or the newer style transfer cases, so that one might not even work. And the way to make it work would be to go online and buy expensive input shaft and output shaft from Novak or something, I don't know, but I'm going to split this video up into 2 parts, and we're going to get into all that in the next one, because I don't see a point in trying to correct my drive shaft problem until I get the transfer case that I want to be in there permanently. Originally I was just going to run with the 249 for this first year. Probably wasn't going to be doing anything hardcore anyway. Just maybe go up north and run the fire roads or something. But since this could potentially get expensive, I'm going to go ahead and do the transfer case swap now, so it's all set up and I don't have to do it again, because there might be some differences in length and stuff. I'm not sure, but I just figured it's best just to get everything the way you want it, if you're gonna have to spend some cash potentially to get a whole new drive shaft made. But my buddy was looking into some stuff for me, and he thinks we might have found a way to get around it, but we'll see. So anyway, I'll be getting back on this real soon. Probably within the next couple weeks I'll put up another video on this, and hopefully we'll be swapping transfer cases. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.